Hello friends, we are studying English literature, and English literature available to us are available in different genres. Poetry, prose, dramatics are some of them. One of the very interesting areas of literature is poetry. Poetry is not just because it is written in lines interest the people. It is also for the fact that it is musically composed or it carries a lot of meaning in limited words. There are different varieties of poetry written. One of the smallest in the series could be sonnets. So, shall we study the sonnets which have been written for a very long time in English literature, one by one, looking at its various aspects and the way it has been composed and the ideas have been explored in those writings. Sonnet as a poetic form, let's explore. To go further, let's read one or two sonnets so that we would be able to understand what sonnets could be structurally and thematically. To give you example, I'm going to give or reading to Sonnet 116 of William Shakespeare and On Blindness by John Milton. Sonnet 116 by William Shakespeare. Let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. Love is not love, which alters when it alteration finds, or bends with the remover to remove. Oh no, it is an ever fixed mark that looks on tempests and is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark, whose worths are known, although its height be taken. Love's not time's fool, though rosy lips and cheeks, with this bending sickle compass come. Love alters not with his brief hours and weeks, but bears it out even to the edge of doom. If this be error, and upon me proved, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. This Sonnet 116, if we further see into the poem, we could see it is composed in 14 lines. Line 1 is, let me not to the marriage of true minds, with the enjambment admit impediments. It is written in a metrical way. If you look into the metricality of the lines, the first line, see the syllabification, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, such 5 meters can be found. Let me not to the marriage of true minds. Hence, it becomes iambic pentameter. If you look into the second line, admit impediments, love is not love, again iambic pentameter. If you look into the other lines of the poem as well, all the 14 lines follow the same metrical pattern. Hence, one of the features of the sonnet could be the 14-line poem written in iambic pentameter. If you look into the poem for the sake of end rhymes, you could find a very interesting rhyme scheme. Let's look into the words which end the lines. Minds, love, finds, remove, mark, shaken, dark, taken, cheeks, come, weeks, doom, proved, loved. Now if you look into it in a marking pattern, minds A, love B, finds A, remove B. So A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D, E, F, E, F, G, G. Now, if we look into this pattern further, it tells us that a sonnet can be divided into 4 sections. The first 3 are 4-lined stanza sections, quatrains. 4-lined is equal to quatrains. So, first quatrain, second quatrain, third quatrain, and a couplet. 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2. If we look into the first quatrain of the poem, you could see the introduction to a particular topic. In this sonnet 116, William Shakespeare is introducing us to know what love is. So he says, it is not the marriage of true, let me not to the marriage of true minds admit impediments. So to him, while introducing the concept of love, he is going to tell you that he cannot accept what love is if it admits impediments. So he says love is not love which alters when alteration finds. So it should be something very permanent. It shouldn't change according to time or things, or it shouldn't bend with removal to remove. So with these 4 lines, he is introducing to the concept of love in the first quatrain. When we go to the second quatrain, he is introducing us to what love could be with further examples. What is it? It's an ever fixed mark. It looks on tempest. It is never shaken. It is a star to every wandering bark, whose worth unknown. You cannot measure the worth of it, although you can just take its height. When you go to the third quatrain, he also further illustrates that it is not time's fool. It's not something that could be seen from the point of view of temporariness, like rosy lips and cheeks. Within bending sickle compass come, when love alters not with the brief hours and weeks. It is something which is going to be living for a long time. Now, after basing his argument very strongly, he is concluding his thoughts in a couplet. He says, if this be error, suppose this is wrong, if someone proves it's wrong, and upon me proved, you can just take it. Shakespeare himself saying, I never writ, nor no man ever loved. You can just expect his writing as nothing, or no one in this world has ever loved. Look at the kind of justification that he is trying to place at the end of his sonnet as a proof to the argument that he is trying to establish in the sonnet. So one thing is very clear, that in sonnet, it's a very closely knit argument to establish one's thought. In the works of William Shakespeare, it is in 3 quatrains and a couplet. Suppose we look into John Milton's On His Blindness. The pattern follows. Let's read one of his sonnets on his blindness to read it further. When I consider how my light is spent ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lost with me useless, though my soul more bent to serve therewith my Maker, and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labor light denied? I fondly ask, but patience to prevent that murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts. Who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly. Thousands at his bidding speed and post over land and ocean without rest. They also serve who only stand and wait. This is a kind of an argument of a person who is talented, but his talent has been taken back by the person who has bestowed it. Now, the complaint is lodged in the initial part of the sonnet, but it has been retaliated towards the end. Let's look into the structure of the sonnet. Let's see whether it follows the iambic pentameter. When I consider how my light is spent, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. So it makes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 iambic pentameter. So the second line, ere half my days in this dark world and wide, again an iambic pentameter. So once again, in John Milton's On His Blindness, you can see it is an iambic pentameter of 14-lined sonnet. Let's look into the rhyme scheme. Spent, wide, hide, bent, present, chide, denied, prevent, need, best, state, speed, rest, wait. Now what's happening here? You have not a couplet here, not a quatrain here. You have a different setup. Let's look into it first. Spent A, wide B, hide B, bent A, present A, chide B, denied B, prevent A, need C, best D, state E, speed C, rest D, wait E. The first line rhymes with the fourth line, second line rhymes with the third line. So A, B, B, A, B, B, A. The ninth line rhymes with the 12th line. The 10th line rhymes with the 13th line. And the 11th line rhymes with the 14th line. So you have a pattern which is different from the way Shakespeare has written it. 8 line one segment and a 6th line another segment. 8 line segment is called octave and 6th line segment is called sestet. Until now we have listened to what Shakespearean sonnets are and we have seen to the features of the Shakespearean sonnets. Now let's take a break and come back and see the Italian sonnets, or also called the Petrarchan sonnet, with the example of On His Blindness by John Milton.